Hello and welcome. I would best describe this project at this stage as sort of an if statement soup. You know what I'm talking about. Here we are, I'll load it up. So we can walk around, and one thing you'll notice is these monsters are moving, and we can also pick up these coins. So we can go pick them up. We've also got some slight friction happening. So I move and then I stop and I just slide for a little bit and come to a stop. We've also got some sort of rebound. So if I jump, made that one. But here I sort of rebound off that wall. Let me just bring it up here. So up above we'll have some monsters, and you can see they're walking on this ledge. But the moment they come to the edge of that ledge, there's sort of a trigger area, and this is similar to trigger volumes from Unreal Engine. But as soon as they come into that trigger area, they just turn around. I'm going to have to tweak this a little bit because at some point the monsters were accidentally walking off the edge, but because I hadn't factored in the possibility that a monster could fall, they would fall, and then turn around and start walking and just walk normally. So I need to sort of refactor that if statement soup a little bit. But there's another cool thing that monsters can do, and that is, this isn't quite working properly yet, but I'll get there. This will probably be my task for today, but they can be aggressive. So the way this works is the monster walks along and then it casts out a hitbox in front of it, and if that collides with the player, then they start attacking. Problem is, something is just not quite working with that. So I'll have to be debugging today on that, I think. Let me step through the code. I mean, there wasn't that much I was going to talk about. Let's talk about moving things. So the big difference that I've made is in my world system, I have implemented a sort of friction system. So we have some friction amount, and this attenuates the velocity in every time step. And then if that velocity changes sign from a positive to a negative, well, that would correspond to changing direction. In other words, friction has expended all of the velocity, so we just flip that horizontal velocity to 0. And this is the really important part. Go right down the bottom. When a object loses all of its velocity and it is on the ground, it's probably safe to say that object has stopped moving. Furthermore, we can also remove or delete the corresponding entry from the physics component set. In object-oriented programming, this is akin to sort of chopping off or regrowing an arm. We are dynamically inserting or removing from the table, and this is really important because it makes sure that updates do not occur on objects which are stationary. I've also got this blocked field in the motion component, in the physics component, and the benefit of that is in order to get feedback on whether the component was blocked by a wall in this update stage. There are two main types of collision checking. First of all, there's the really big collisions with stationary blocks, in other words, the static environment. But then secondly, there's collisions with dynamic objects. Some things, such as the monsters, need to know if they hit anything. The monster needs to know whether it hit a block so it can turn around, but it also needs to know whether it walked into one of those trigger areas, similarly, so it can turn around. That's why it's important to get feedback from the world about whether the object hit something, rather than simply, I guess, removing them from the pool of moving objects straight away. So, as my player was walking around and collecting coins, they were also doing a sort of world query. When I say world query, what I mean is they were asking the world, hey, I want to search this given collision layer. I've got this hitbox. Am I hitting anything? And that's what this function is doing. All it does is it looks through all the members of the provided collision layer, checks if they are overlapping with the given box, and returns their ID. If it hits nothing, then it just, as a sentinel value, returns the maximum UN32. This is also being used by the monsters when they walk into those dead ends and turn around, and when they probe to see if the player is close enough for them to hit. Yeah, just check through my list of updates that I made. That'll be it for this one. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again soon. Bye.